Good afternoon. I finished work, just went for a 10-minute jog. That's all I can manage today. That's okay. It's Q&A day. And it looks like you guys have sent through some filthy questions. Well, not filthy like that. Don't bloody delete this video, YouTube, please. Now, I'll try to keep these Q&As semi-regularly because eventually you're gonna get fucking bored of me doing the same kind of videos every day. So this is something a bit different. But the first question is, what are my thoughts on running influencers being complete knobs during marathons? Bro, that's a funny question. When I first saw this and I saw that there were people on e-bikes, I thought he was getting like aero-paced, like you do in cycling, where they have like a bike in front of you and he's, you know, tucking in behind, getting out of the wind. And I thought, what the fuck's this? But actually what has happened is he just wants to be a main character and he wants to have 5 different angles of him running 2:57 in the marathon, which, you know, other people have done this in marathons in the past. Like I've seen, like, you know, Nick Bear has done, you know, marathons before where he's had the guy next to him on the with the camera and stuff like that, and that's really cool. But Nick Bear didn't do it at a marathon major, and he was also probably running like what, 2:40 or something like that. So you're not in the big crowd of sub 3 people. There's probably like 5,000 people at New York trying to run sub 3, and so you're trying to have like 3 bikes or whatever it was, like in this big crowd of people trying to run sub 3. Holy moly, what a mess. But you know, he's gotten banned and that's okay. But the absolute mob mentality of people online just going after him on like every single post that he's ever posted, as if he's like murdered someone. Like, he made a mistake, he thinks he's a main character. That's okay. He's got banned now. It's all good. He's probably not going to be able to like do this ever again. But like, you don't have to ring up his sponsors, and you know, everyone doesn't have to comment how bad he is as a person. He's not killed anyone. God. But the next question is how to keep motivated when injured. Let's do some serious questions now. And this is just water. There's no hydration, electrolyte mix, just water. So how do I keep motivated when running? That is a really good question. In all honesty, I've stopped thinking about motivation altogether. I've stopped even thinking about getting back to running. All I'm doing is what I can do every day. Like before, I just did 10 minutes. That's all I could manage before I started to tighten up a little bit through that quad. That's all I can do. No worries, that's life. I've got to get on with it. And the best thing that I've ever found to improve your motivation in life when you can't run, even though that's not really the question, is to not just internalize everything back on yourself and how bad your issues are, but to go and actually help other people. Because I usually find that when you spend time helping other people and making their lives a little bit better, even when your life is inherently, you know, shit at this point in time because you can't do what you love, you're gonna feel a little bit better because you've made a positive impact on someone else's life, and that is awesome. Okay, next question. Why is there wildlife in your house? Are kangaroos everywhere in Australia? I think that's 2 questions. Okay, question 1. Why is there wildlife in your house? Well, the lizard's not in my house. The lizard's outside under the deck. I wonder if he's there today. Let's check. Okay, so number 1, we've got the cat. Wildlife number 1, but you're not really wildlife. You're a domesticated cat, so you don't count. Doesn't look like the lizard is out here today. Unless he's behind me. Nope. Usually you can tell where she is by looking through the cracks in the wood. But I can't seem to find it today. Oh well. And this is Cat. Aww, come back. Okay, she does not like me today. So yeah, this is probably not a normal scenario having so many cats. We're a family of 5 at the moment, which is pretty cool, but that cat is going back to their owner over the weekend, and Liz the lizard, her rent's due next week and she's not paid it, so she's gonna get evicted soon. And kangaroos, there are a lot of kangaroos around, but we kind of live on the outskirts of the suburbs, so you can actually see some kangaroos if you just go up the road a little bit, but generally there's not kangaroos everywhere in Australia. Okay, next question, favorite distance. It's probably the half marathon. The half marathon is really fun because I'm just gonna show you what I mean. So the thing about 5Ks and 10Ks is you have such intense lactate buildup and pain that it's just absolutely horrible. And as you go further in the race distances, yes, you are in pain, but it's not intense pain that's horrible, basically. And then training time, you don't have to train that much for 5 and 10Ks. But when you move up to a marathon and like an ultra, you have to train so much. And so the half marathon is like this perfect distance between intense pain and too much training time that I really like. And it really shouldn't be called the half marathon because it gives it less credit because it's half of an actual marathon. It should have another name like the big run. Let's go with the big run. Okay, next question. What is the hardest injury to fix? This is actually quite an interesting question because what do you define as fixed? Like, do you define fixed as the structure that has been previously broken is now completely healed? Or do you define fixed as it doesn't hurt anymore when I run, so I'm all good? Because there's two different things there because the brain is very, very weird. And sometimes things that are destroyed aren't painful. And some things that aren't destroyed are painful. So there's a disconnect there. Like say, for example, if you have a muscle tear in your quad, it's probably going to take about 18 months of proliferation before that tear is completely gone and all that's left is a bit of scar tissue. But the pain would have gone away after 6 weeks, 3 months, and your full range of motion and strength would have come back after, 4 to 6 weeks. So was it fixed at 4 to 6 weeks? Or was it fixed at 18 months when it was fully healed? Shit, we're getting way off track. What is the hardest injury to fix? The hardest injury to fix, in my opinion, is tendons because they structurally change, and because there's less blood flow to that area, they can become big issues over time. And you can have this recurrent tendon issue that can go on for 3-4 years where the tendon itself, just the tissue just never quite gets better. And that contrasts quite a lot with something like a muscle strain, like I said before, where it's just a matter of waiting over time for things to just completely get fixed. Whereas tendons don't do that. Tendons are really complex and that's why they're really hard. So if you have a tendon issue, then go watch the video that I made a couple of weeks ago and I'll go way more in depth in that video. So good. Next question. Okay, final question. How do you resolve shin pain? Has been on and off for years now. Well, shin pain's pretty tricky and it's kind of like tendon stuff too because what happens is the tibialis posterior, that's this muscle that sits underneath the gastrocnemius and the soleus, and this muscle actually comes behind the ankle here and then goes down and connects into the navicular, okay? And this is really important for lifting that arch up, but you can imagine the loading that you're getting through that tibialis posterior muscle when you're taking a step. And so what it's doing all the time is pulling on that bone all the time. And so chronic long-term shin splints, providing that's not like a compartment syndrome or something like that, there's going to be some bone involvement basically. So what you should do if you have that issue is go to your doctor, talk about it to him, tell him what's been going on and go get a scan, because what you might see on a scan is that the density of the bone in the area where you're getting symptoms has dropped massively. And that is really concerning because that can become a stress fracture. You can get all kinds of bone issues in that, and it's just not good. And actually, if I remember correctly, they actually use like a spectrum of disorders to describe shin splints now. I'll try and find that in a sec. Hold on. Okay, so yes, there is like a spectrum ranging from tendinopathy of the tibialis posterior all the way to like a stress reaction or a stress fracture. So you really have to get on top of this stuff, especially if it's been 4 years, dude. Fuck. So yes, I would definitely go just get this checked out and make sure that it's not any like low density bone stuff or like an acute on chronic tendinopathy. But like I said, shin splints absolutely suck. And I had shin splints from the start of the season until the end of the season when I played soccer for many, many seasons in a row. And yeah, they're just brutal. But yeah, that was the last question. So this is basically over. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section below. I think I'll make these Q&As a little bit more regular, maybe once a week or something like that. While I'm doing daily uploads, may as well add some variety in. And if you have any further questions or training stuff or injury stuff, join the Discord. Join the Discord chat. The link's in the description. We can chat shit all day long or talk about serious stuff. It's up to you. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.